All eyes are on Iowa as President Trump and Biden face off in the Hawkeye State. You are looking live where Trump and Biden are currently speaking. The fireworks, though, started earlier today with both men taking jabs at each other. The former vice president is also set to speak tonight, where he is apparently going to label the president as a, quote, existential threat to America. The flailing Democratic frontrunner gave us a little preview of what is to come earlier today.
4 years of Donald Trump will be viewed as an aberration in American history. 8 years will fundamentally change who we are as a nation. He thinks that being tough is great. Well, it's really easy to be tough when someone else absorbs the pain. Donald Trump is only exacerbating the threat and the danger. Well, I think he's genuinely a threat to our core values, and he's a threat to our standing in the world. This is a guy who does everything to separate and frighten people. It's about fear and loathing. It's always been about the abuse of power.
Trump way ahead of the game, though, hitting hard against Biden earlier today.
Well, I heard Biden, who's a loser. I mean, look, Joe never got more than 1%, except Obama took him off the trash heap, and now it looks like he's failing. It looks like his friends from the left are going to overtake him pretty soon. But I heard, his whole campaign is to hit Trump. When he mentions my name that many times, I guess I should be complimented. No, I'd rather run against, I think, Biden than anybody. I think he's the weakest mentally. And I like running against people that are weak mentally. I think Joe is the weakest up here. The other ones have much more energy. I don't agree with their policies, but I think Joe is a man who is, I call him 1% Joe, because until Obama came along, he didn't do very well. But look, but I don't bring him up. Joe Biden is a dummy.
Greg, did you watch the speech by Biden today? And did you think it was sleepy?
The funny thing is, he appears to be somebody who's been affected by a nickname, so he tries to appear more energetic, like he just woke up from a nap, and he's trying to be energetic. And that's the power of a nickname, because it's forcing him to act energetic, which in itself is exhausting. I want to focus on what the media said this morning when they kept talking about Biden is set to eviscerate Trump. Mm-hmm. That was everywhere. It was almost as though that verb was fed to them by some. Yes, it was in every single lower third. That's that thing right there. At CNN, it was eviscerate this, and everybody was using it on their media blogs. And it just shows you how in tandem the media and the Democrats are, that they act together. Now, according to Biden, what bugged me about his speech, other than he did that fine folks hoax again, he told the people there that you cannot discredit the news, which is BS. Of course you can. And he believes that calling somebody an existential threat is not as bad as saying fake news. But if you call somebody an existential threat, you are putting him among Hitler, ISIS, and climate change. So what are you implying when you call somebody existential? You can't vote out something existential. You can vote out imperialist Japan or Hitler or climate change. So this rhetoric is way worse than anything about fake news. You're basically implying something very sinister that needs to be taken care of.
Juan, do you agree with that? Do you think that's over the line? Existential threat to the country?
No. I think that Biden's right, that Trump pushes the fear button, divides us, stigmatizes people. So to me, the key thing about this story, Jesse, is that clearly Biden is in Trump's head. Trump, there are 23 people running on the Democratic side. The only one that Trump talks about continuously is Joe Biden.
He's the front runner.
And I think that if you look at the numbers, especially the state numbers, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, you can see, there's a reason that he is worried about Joe Biden. Joe Biden's beaten him in all those places. Joe Biden is the Democrat right now who's clearly outlegging Donald Trump if this was a general election. And Joe Biden already
it's a year and a
like
half
a Joe
before
Biden.
the election.
I agree, but I'm just telling you, what's clear is that Joe Biden has unsettled Donald Trump. And when he says, Joe Biden's dumb or slow, please.
I don't know. I think Trump has unsettled Joe Biden because he flip-flopped on China today,
yes,
Katie. He said, actually, China is our competitor and is a huge threat.
Yeah, well, he said that, but he also said China is making massive investments in technology of the future. No, actually, they're just stealing all of our technology and calling it an investment. But he also had another issue today with plagiarism. Remember when Michael Avenatti was thinking about running in Iowa for the presidency, and he had an actual campaign ad. Well, he said, "Make America America again." Joe Biden said that today.
Oh.
So, you know, just got to watch your words, Joe. But he did flip-flop again on China. And I find it very interesting that Joe Biden has tied himself so close to President Obama on the economy specifically, especially when you've seen such a change in the atmosphere with businesses and manufacturing. He also tried to make the point today that manufacturing is somehow not good under President Trump when he's brought back 500,000 manufacturing jobs to the country. So I'm not so sure that people are willing to go back to the Obama economy. And I find it interesting that he's running on that.
Yeah, that might not be the best message for Joe Biden. Dana, you know Johnny, my assistant.
Yes.
Crack assistant, Johnny Cupcakes.
Great guy.
So he called up
Little
the
skinny.
Little skinny. Well,
that's a crack.
there's no truth to that.
Is there?
So Johnny called the venue today in Iowa where Biden was. Max capacity, 2,500. Joe Biden only filled it up 10%. Only 250 people were there to see Joe Biden. Not a good turnout, Dana.
Well, it's Tuesday afternoon. He's not the president. I think there's a lot, right. But I saw a couple of people leave from the back. It filled in with other people. And if you're in Iowa, imagine
You and I
this.
could get 3 times that.
Well, yeah, obviously.
At 1 a.m. in Iowa.
Obviously. I do think so. To the point of that they eviscerate.
Yes.
Right. So that what happens is you have the campaign spokesperson calls up a few producers like, hey, I'm going to give you a heads up of what's going to happen today. I'm going to give you a little color of what's going to happen. We're going to eviscerate him. Then they all use that. And I think that the danger in that is that it's going to fall flat. Or it will not meet those expectations because an evisceration is like a complete and total takedown.
Right.
And so the better thing to do is do a speech, let it be an evisceration, or let that be the reaction to it. Instead, they're always playing catch up. But remember, his opposition right now is not Donald Trump. That's what he's talking about. Trump's talking about Biden. The other candidates on the Democratic side have started taking swipes at Joe Biden, and I think part of the China piece and the flip-flop on that was the pressure from the left, including Elizabeth Warren. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth Warren in Iowa, in particular, just 1 point behind Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. So, and her favorables are much higher than Bernie Sanders.
She's the most liked candidate of all the candidates. She's even more liked than Joe Biden in Iowa.
Right. So, in a way, Biden's real competition is the other candidates at this point.
And Biden was smart to then not do the weekend thing, I think we all agreed, and then now go into Iowa one-on-one against the president, and he's getting a ton of press.
He's in that bad situation where the more you look, the less you see. He's cruised along as a co-star, a secondary character in a sitcom, not the star. And now you know why, because he'll say anything for the spotlight. And I honestly think he might be mentally ill.
Greg.
What?
Oh, I was just impersonating Joe Scarborough. I would never say that.
Yeah, you couldn't say
clever,
that
though.
about Republicans,
Yes.
not about
Yeah,
Democrats.
no, I was just pretending to be Morning Joe.
By the way, Jesse.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know you're so critical of Elizabeth Warren,
Yes.
Pocahontas,
Yes.
and you've been going off on that. I thought
have.
you might come in dressed up as village people. But so what do you think
That's
of
on
the fact
Fridays.
that somehow she keeps climbing in the polls, Jesse?
Someone said that it was because she's been putting out a lot of really good plans, but
Yeah.
that's not what I think. I think she's gone the farthest left on impeachment, and she's banged that drum the hardest and the most consistently and the earliest. So I think that, I think people are responding.
But I must say, she's not digging into Joe Biden. I think she's digging into Bernie
It sounds
Sanders.
like Ron is switching. He's going
I'm
from
just telling
Biden
you.
to Warren.
No, but I'm
I've been
just struck
following
by
you,
it
Ron.
because you
I
just
know
here
that
today,
you've
you
been
were saying,
backing.
Elizabeth Warren, she's coming for you. I'm just like, what happened to your criticism?
We'll see.